There's a lot of things Mission Impossible Final Reckoning got right. There's nothing like going to a big screen and watching Tom Cruise, Jackie Chan himself through action sequences. At 62 years old, it gives men over 40 hope. But guess what? Most of us are falling apart by 35 if we sleep the wrong way. Tom doesn't have a problem with this because Tom doesn't sleep. And that's the trick. Stop sleeping, you idiot. Maybe your knees will stop aching. Did you ever think of that? No, you were too busy sleeping to even think. There's a lot of things this Mission Impossible suffers from, and one of the things is a bloated runtime. I'm not sure what this obsession is with 3-hour runtimes, but not everything requires a Lord of the Rings amount of length. The film could have easily been cut down to 2 hours, still got the same story, and didn't feel like it lingered like grandma's wet fart. Credit where it's due. Tom Cruise keeps launching himself at the planet like it owes him a royalty check. I don't care what your opinion is on his personal life, his center tooth or couch jumping. When Tom Cruise commits, he commits like his soul's trapped in a contract that only a massive adrenaline dump can break. Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is less of a movie and more of a sermon about what happens when one man sacrifices his body, sanity, and probably 1 or 2 vertebrae to keep your summer from becoming a Netflix coma. In a world where AI-generated nonsense is waiting in the shadows like a pervy dungeon master, ready to serve you a personalized entertainment experience, Tom Cruise is still out here doing real shit. He's dangling off planes and sprinting like a lunatic and making sure at least one Mission Impossible movie per decade can double as a Red Bull commercial. At this point, we're not even watching for the plot, we're watching to see if he survives. Make no mistake about it, Cruise is the last movie star who still seems interested in earning your ticket money instead of cashing a check and hiding behind green screens and body doubles like a Marvel actor in the middle of getting an enema. And that's the subtext of this film. The Final Reckoning isn't just a globe-trotting spy thriller, it's a 2.5-hour allegory where Ethan Hunt fistfights the concept of AI to save humanity, or in this case, the movie industry. And I mean it, our villain's a damn algorithm. The entity, yes, that's its name, represents a looming digital threat that's replacing not just espionage, but cinema itself. And who is there to stop it but the last movie star? This movie isn't whispering its message, it's beating you over the head with it like an angry substitute teacher with a projector remote. And I kind of respect that. Because as Tom Cruise punches his way through another city, another train, another mile of cardio that would kill a man in his 20s, the message is clear. If we let automation completely take over, without people willing to suffer for greatness, we're just jerking ourselves off with our eyes open. That's not storytelling, that's masturbation in 4K. And jerking off is a sin, and Tom Cruise is the cinematic priest here to shame you for even considering it. Now let's talk about the part in The Final Reckoning that made me question whether my popcorn was laced with NyQuil, the Exposition. And Jesus Cristo on a flash drive, this movie talks more than a divorced dad on his 4th Coors. Every scene feels like someone paused the movie to explain the movie. Spy movies are supposed to have some explanation. You gotta tell us what the MacGuffin does, who wants it, and what happens if it falls into the wrong hands. But this movie, it explains everything. It's like watching an episode of Dora the Explorer if Dora had an addiction to PowerPoint and an endless supply of guys in tactical vests. If we don't get the source code, the entity will override all the nation's defense protocols and... Shut up! Let Ethan jump off a helicopter. There's entire stretches of this movie where nothing actually happens. Just characters standing around, explaining what might happen if other things happen, assuming a third thing doesn't happen first. It's like instead of showing us the plan, Christopher McQuarrie just held a team meeting about it and prayed Tom Cruise could outrun the plot holes. Worse yet, the film never fully trusts its audience that they're following along, which at times, quite frankly, it was kind of hard to do. There were moments where my brain just checked out. Full screensaver mode. Some expositional scenes fell into the category of closed-circuit storytelling. That's when only the writer and the characters know what the hell's going on, and the audience is left confused or out of the loop. It's seriously hard to believe Christopher McQuarrie is the same man who wrote The Usual Suspects and The Edge of Tomorrow. Luckily, there are scenes strategically put in place to lock you back in. The submarine scene where Ethan retrieves the source code briefly woke me up, but that only comes after 2 interlocking work meetings between 2 different teams in 2 separate locations. They started diagramming everything on a touch screen and talking about various radio frequencies, like it was a spy-themed Excel spreadsheet with a stunt budget. Like I said in my review of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, link in the description, a way more interesting concept would have been if, to defeat the entity, Ethan and the gang would have to roll back their spycraft to something more analog. burner phones, dead drops, a damn Swiss Army umbrella. You know, old spy shit. That would have nailed the whole AI is taking over everything angle in a way that actually says something, instead of just vaguely gesturing at Skynet 2.0. It could have mirrored what's happening in Hollywood right now, where machines promise to replace the hard, messy human process of making art, but in doing so strips away the soul. Instead, we get a 2.5-hour tech support call with Tom Cruise occasionally jumping off something. Now, for all of its flaws, The Final Reckoning strains as hard as it can to shit out constipated Easter eggs and pander to Mission Impossible fans the best way possible. Die-hard fans will spot references to the original film, callback scenes to previous entries, and even bringing back characters from the first Brian De Palma entry. A lot of it works. Some of it overstays its welcome. When it works, it hits that sweet spot of, hey, I remember that, or isn't that the guy Ethan cursed with ass lava? What doesn't work is some of the integrated plot lines, like explaining what the rabbit's foot was in Mission Impossible 3 and how it's shoehorned into Final Reckoning. It feels like cheap erasure to one of the things that made Mission Impossible 3 unique, which is no character nor the audience knew what the rabbit's foot truly did. It was the throwback to the classic MacGuffin where a mysterious object drives the plot forward but has no revealed function or significance. Of course, that was J.J. Abrams' Mission Impossible, so it could have easily been one of his dumbass mystery boxes he couldn't be bothered to explain, like the lens flare hack that he is. Here's the rub. If this really is Tom Cruise's last ride as Ethan Hunt, then damn, this ain't the send-off he deserves. It's not awful, but it's not legendary either. And for a character who literally jumps out of more planes than most people boards in a lifetime, he deserves to go out with fireworks and not a group project outline. The last two Mission Impossibles feel like watching a chalkboard have a panic attack. They're so obsessed with being intricate and making sure the audience is following that they forget what made Fallout and Rogue Nation so good in the first place. They move like a greased up shark high on cocaine and Monster Energy chasing Ethan. Maybe the shark will catch him. Maybe the shark's heart will explode. I don't know. That was the fun of it. And Christopher McQuarrie is trying to make a statement about technology, about control, about storytelling itself. But at some point, I just want Tom Cruise to punch a guy, jump off something high, and barely escape death while I lean over to my wife and say, see that, huh? Taught him everything he knows. I don't want to hear Ethan discuss the implications of algorithmic warfare like he's teaching a masterclass on ethical programming. That said, Cruise still brings it. The man is an absolute machine. He's not phoning it in, even if the screenplay is. He's throwing himself into every stunt, every run, every moment like he knows this might be the last time he gets to show the world what real movie magic looks like. That's why this is such a bittersweet watch, because even when the movie stumbles, Cruise never does. He's out there risking life and limb while the rest of Hollywood's trying to deepfake charisma. So if this really is the end for Ethan Hunt, it's a flawed, messy, overly talky ending. But it's still one hell of a showcase for a guy who never stopped trying to earn your applause. And in a world drowning in CGI sludge, and we're on the edge of personalized entertainment by dialing in a few keywords into AI, Tom Cruise's effort alone to save why we go to the movies might make The Final Reckoning worth seeing. It might be one of the last times you actually get to watch something like this. Do yourself a favor, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more of my award-winning personality to fix your day. Not that I care about it or anything, but I got you. I'm out of here.